Nice hat, by the way, Greg.
Thanks. Got a cow on it.
That's nice.
Yeah.
What's the cow's name?
I don't know.
You should name it.
So this long of a delay.
Coming up, we're going to talk beer and Baby Got Back. Plus, we see what's on Rumorville for Apple. Plus, Visa is developing a ring? Yeah, we've had that too. All that and more. This episode, it's a new one, a Bandwidth Boys podcast. Let's go.
Bandwidth Boys Podcast.
I got this feeling inside my bones. It goes electric wavy when I turn it on. Off from my city, off from my home. We're flying up no ceiling when we in our zone. I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh.
We talk about stuff, tech stuff.
Is that Alan Stone?
Justin Timberlake. I couldn't cut him off. I had to let JT finish his dealio.
Yeah, it's great. And it sounded a lot like Stone, too. Welcome to another episode of Bandwidth Boys Podcast. I'm Greg.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Connolly.
All right, let's get right into it. What's going on, Tech World?
What's going on in tech world?
As if tapping your phone to the credit card machine was too tough, well, Visa is now making it easier to make a purchase, creating a ring. That's right, Visa has created a ring that has embedded NFC technology. Many wearable-type products have been flying around Kickstarter, but we think this will gain some traction as it is the only wearable ring that has Visa backing. The company says they're giving it to about 45 athletes heading to the Olympics in Rio.
Apple is apparently just another tech company and suffers outages from time to time. Thursday, Apple support reported their App Store went down around 3:30 Eastern Time. Users began reporting the issue, saying they would receive the following message. Quote, the iTunes Store is unable to process purchases at this time, unquote. Some other services seem to take a hit as well. Apple Music, Photos, Apple TV, Find My Phone, and iCloud Backup. It took Apple about 5 hours to restore all services back to its Apple glory.
Okay, we'll hold off the puns until the end of this story. So, Tribune Publishing, owner of Chicago Tribune and LA Times, among others, decided to change its name from Tribune Broadcasting to Tronc. Yep, you heard that right. Tronc Inc., short for Tribune Online Content. The company says the new name is moving them past the old-fashioned newspaper business, the publishing business, and into a digital world. Not only are they rebranding, but they're creating a new brand called Tronc X. Quote, content creation and monetization engine that also uses artificial intelligence, close quote. Okay, now let the puns roll.
Whoever thought an 8-bit game would become known as one of the most successful video games ever created? Well, this week Microsoft took that spot. Creators of the game Mojang,
Who created the game.
Yes. Oh, creators of the game Mojang announced... Oh, Minecraft took that spot. Creators of the game Mojang.
We should probably... Here, let's sting it again and we'll start over.
Whoever thought an 8-bit game would become known as one of the most successful video games ever created? Well, this week Minecraft took that spot. Creators of the game Mojang announced that they have sold 100 million copies across all platforms. Engadget writes the company sells about 53,000 copies a day across the world. Another video game that crossed the 100 million copies threshold? Tetris. Greg, you know Tetris.
I do. I'm familiar with that. Business owners, listen up. Google has created a tool that tests your web page's speed. Not new. Anyway, in a blog announcement Thursday, Google says they've created, quote, a new landing page to test your website's mobile friendliness and page speed for desktop and mobile all in one place, unquote. The new site, testmysite.think, will, .think? What?
Right, mysite.thinkwithgoogle.com.
New site test mysite.thinkwithgoogle.com. I don't know, it's still not making sense to me. Anyway, they're just words, does 3 things. 1, gives you all 3 scores in one page. 2, Google will email you a more comprehensive report for you to share with your webmaster team. And 3, Google will now give you a 0 out of 100 score for how mobile-friendly your website is, opposed to if it's mobile-friendly or not. Now you can go test your page, and I guess
What's the website again, Greg?
it doesn't make sense to me yet. You say it. Go ahead. Don't.
testmysite.thinkwithgoogle.com. And that's a wrap. What's going on, Tech World?
I'm so happy I'm not the only one that can't read tonight.
I'm not gonna lie, that not the best URL that I would choose for my new speed thing, but what are you gonna do?
It's second only to Trunk, which is the worst thing I've ever heard, and the idea of dropping the name of your brand that you've developed for, 50 years is also unbelievable.
They're tired of the old publishing industry there, Greg. They're ready to jump on the digital bandwagon.
Feel free.
Well, if you are watching the video podcast, you know that we have an extra person on the show tonight. We're bringing in Michaela, who is a recent Washington State University grad and also a host of her own podcast, Girl Talk on KUGR. Hello, Michaela.
Hi. Also, that podcast is no longer in existence.
I was trying to give you some props. You can go listen to the archives on SoundCloud. Here's our theme song for you, Michaela.
It's a good song.
So anytime you come on the show, that's gonna be your welcome.
Good. I enjoy it.
All right. So thanks for joining us. Michaela's gonna give us some great insight on technology, right?
You know it.
I'm looking forward to it.
Can't wait.
You
So
know
we'll-
me in tech.
We'll kick off the big talk with. As we get closer to WWDC, also known as Matt's only day that he takes off from work, to watch this 2-hour Apple Kool-Aid drinking competition,
Also known as the Worldwide Developers Conference.
whatever you want to call it. I call it potato, you call it potato. And so as we get closer, more and more rumors and leaks come out, and we all know that Apple is the best at keeping their products and what's going to happen at WWDC under wraps, as opposed to Google and Microsoft. You already kind of know what's going on before you get into the conference. So all these rumors, maybe, I don't know, 20% of them are true, and so we'll dive into what has been released this past week, and then we'll talk about, since you guys are all three Apple users, if you would take the plunge into buying a new Apple product. How about that?
Sounds good to me.
Matt,
Perfect.
all right. So the first leak that happened last week and earlier this week is the new iPhone 7 release, set to be released in September, and rumor is they are ready to release it with the magical ear pods. So we talked about that technology, right? It's is it Bluetooth?
Bluetooth.
So they're going to get rid of the famed headphone jack that Connolly is opposed to not doing, but the rest of you are all about removing it for these new ear pods, along with faster processor, same size as the 6S and the 6S Plus, so that's not going to change. Just with the port, what do you call it? Thunder? What do they call it?
Lightning.
With the Lightning port doing it all. Your thoughts on the new iPhone 7? Happy to get rid of the headphone jack. What are you guys thinking?
Couldn't be
This
happier.
is all Rumorville, by the way.
Couldn't be happier to get rid of the headphone jack. It makes it thicker. You don't need it. Bluetooth is getting better. Sounds almost just as good. Not exactly the same. Something else with the iPhone 7 I saw was that they are rumored to be dropping the 16 gig low-end version of the iPhone. So the minimum, I think, would be 32.
That is their next step up, yeah.
Yeah, and then they're also rumored to be doubling the top end, so the biggest phone you could get would be 256.
Wow, look at you and that math.
Yeah, I'm pretty good.
What's the reason for that?
Elitism.
I think my guess is videos.
Elitism.
No, I think it's videos, because once you start adding 4K cameras on your phone, 16 gigs doesn't work now. And I know before iOS 9, with 8, a lot of people were having problems with just not having enough space to ever update their phone, because between their photos and their apps, there was just not the space to do the update. So a big thing with iOS 9 was reducing the update file size so that you could actually do it without needing a ton of space.
Right.
So I'm thinking, once you start adding on these super high quality photos and videos, it takes way more space than it did back when they were making 8 gig phones.
So according to MacRumors.com, here are kind of the, I guess the big expected features. And Greg, you just upgraded to iPhone 6s, right?
And Plus, yeah.
Yeah. And Michaela, you're iPhone
5S.
5s, and Matt, you're a 6s Plus.
6 Plus.
6 Plus. Oh, not 6s Plus. So will these changes prompt you to get a new phone? I'm probably with no on Greg, but for you two, the no headphone jack, a dual lens camera for iPhone 7 Plus, so I guess that wouldn't be for the standard iPhone 7, a possible smart connector for the iPhone 7 Plus, and a similar design to the iPhone 6s, a redesigned antenna bands, upgraded processor. Would any of that tickle your fancy to upgrade to the iPhone 7?
Well, considering I have an upgrade on my phone, it would be nice to get a new one. But they also cost money.
They do. And you have a lot of it, I hear.
Well, no.
$1 here and there.
I have to work for dance moms to pay the rent.
Greg, would any of those features get you to upgrade from your 6S? Or
They would. They would, but it's all for me. I'm not and I think I'm different from Matt this way. At this point, I'm a lease and turnover guy, and not a buy my phone and own it and keep it for as long as I want to guy. So it will have to fall into to the time of my lease agreement, which you can do pretty quickly anymore. It doesn't. You don't have to keep it for a whole 2 years or anything. It comes, what is it, about a year and a half or so now that they give you the option to just keep going with the newest whatever?
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on your carrier. AT&T does 12 and 24.
Yeah.
12, 18, 24. But
Yeah.
they got rid of the 18.
And I honestly would have to go look at my my agreement to remember what it is we're doing. But, I mean, I usually can keep one and feel pretty comfortable with it for 2 years. But that's where it starts to get weird, I think.
Matt?
Yeah, I would, but not necessarily because of the features. Mostly just because I've been on a I don't know what you'd call it, a whole cycle upgrade path. I don't know what they call it, versus the S upgrade path. So
you're going the 4s, the 5s.
Yeah. So since I'm on a 6, I would go to the 7.
So you're on a 2-year cycle.
Yeah. But I know that you're also going to touch on something in a second that might completely change that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited for a phone that doesn't have a headphone jack.
So go ahead.
No, I mean that was. I don't know why you think it's such a bad idea.
I think it's a terrible idea. Here's the thing. I understand the concept of these earpods and Bluetooth and getting rid of your headphone jack, right? But a lot of cars aren't equipped with Bluetooth yet. I mean, the new ones are, right? You go, I don't know, 2015 and above, I guess, 2014 kind of is when Bluetooth started going in. Well, if you get rid of the headphone jack, all of your old cars aren't able to play music anymore. While you travel across state, while you commute, you can't listen to your podcast like ours. You can't listen to music. None of that can be done in your car if that headphone jack is gone.
That's a lie. I have an FM transmitter that's Bluetooth, and that's why I use my phone in my car.
Yeah, and it doesn't.
I don't like Michaela on the show.
And it doesn't.
My bad.
It doesn't make sense to hold back innovation just because it will no longer work with older technologies. Going forward, I think it's very well decided that every car is going to have Bluetooth. So it doesn't make sense to not upgrade your device and not improve it just to keep an archaic thing in there to work with older systems. That just doesn't make sense.
It's not that much of an old system, though. It's not like we're using cassette tapes.
Yeah, but it's also a technology that hasn't been changed in forever.
I'm not saying don't change it. I'm just saying slowly change it. Like slowly introduce the pods. Give us time for the cars to catch up. Give us time for the stereos to catch up, and then make that full change. But Apple wants to be Apple and say, screw you. We're going to do what we're going to do, and you just follow us or not.
I have no doubt.
That's my theory.
I have no doubt that you won't be able to purchase a Lightning 2.
You can purchase whatever the heck you want. I understand that.
And then it solves
but
your
you
problem.
always have to buy these accessories on top of accessories, and that's what annoys me about all these tech companies is they innovate, and then they go, oh, yeah, you can do this, but you got to buy this $30 dongle. You can do this, or you got to buy the $60 app. You can do this, or but you have to do this. And that's the part that annoys me. But here's the part that doesn't annoy me about Apple, is rumor is they're going to go to a 3-year cycle for releasing phones. And I think that's amazing. Because we've had the talk before about whether technology, and we talked about sales of smartphones and technology and why there's this decline, and I have said it's because innovation has slowed down and people are no longer impressed with what they get. But if you would roll it out every 3 years instead of every year, I think there'd be a bigger bang and your sales will continue to rise. What do you guys think about a 3-year cycle for smartphones with Apple?
I think you're exactly right. I think that's a great cycle, and it's probably a more realistic cycle for innovation, as you say. I think you actually get some real changes and differences in there in 3 years. I guess the only problem that I see is, and I'm not sure which end the problem comes from. The developers of the apps that we're using and the technology that we're using the phones to mediate with, but by the time you get to the end of 2 years, your processor speed, its ability to handle the newly developed apps is starting to wane, and you get into that 3rd year someplace, and there's always something that you can't quite do. I just wonder if the whole industry is going to adjust to that or not, and that'll determine whether or not it's kind of a pain in the butt or if it's a real thing.
I think that'll kind of work itself out in that now, as things improve, you start to upgrade your apps and your software to run on the newest and greatest. But I think if you have the expectation that there is no newest and greatest and there won't be for a year, I think it will severely change how things get developed. But I think the 3-year product cycle is something that Apple needs to do in order to protect their...
Keep it exciting
and to protect their market and financial image. Because last quarter their sales went down, but that's not to say that they didn't make money. I mean, they were making almost $3 or $4 billion.
We never see it because it's offshore, but whatever.
Yeah, but when you're making
build a wall. Continue.
When you're making $4 billion a week, your sales aren't bad, but because they historically were not what they were the quarter previous, it looks bad for you. But when you get to these product cycles where now everyone is refreshing their product and everyone is buying a new one when the new one comes out, then that's how you sustain those high sales numbers that they used to have. But now they're just starting to become more realistic and they're starting to plateau a bit because the products are so new. One. Yeah, and there's always a new one.
And like Greg said, a year phone, perfectly fine. 2-year phone, it's okay. You get on that 3rd year, and that's when you start to struggle, and that's when you would see sales spike again. And so that it all just makes sense to me to not do it year after year after year, coming out with the phone and having mediocre sales numbers, and then every 3-4 years you see this giant spike.
I wouldn't use the word mediocre sales numbers.
Whatever. In Apple's eyes, I guess, mediocre.
I think in the market's eyes, it's mediocre. But I think people have severely lost perspective when looking at Apple sales.
Okay. I'm on my Google bandwagon, so you rock that. All right. So no real big news about the iPad. I'm sure that'll come in a couple weeks. Do you think they're going to do anything with the iPad?
I doubt it.
They did it last cycle, right? So why would they?
I think this
more watch.
I think I don't think feature watch wise, like hardware watch wise. I think a lot more iOS integration, which is iOS 10, which everyone gets, right? I mean, not everyone. This is the first iOS that they think will get rid of the iPad 2. So the iPad 2 won't be able to get the upgrade, and the iPhone, I think it was 4. They're going to get rid of. And so those two products, which wasn't on the iOS 9, everyone got it, right? So it never took out any products. But I think iOS 10 will take out those two products, and I think we'll bring a lot more enhancements to the Apple Watch. But I think hardware-wise, I don't see much change to that.
Yeah, I'd say another at least 6 to 8 months before there's new hardware.
So the next rumor mill is the MacBook Pro,
great,
which we
yeah.
kind of talked about it last week, right?
Yeah.
The biggest news of the MacBook Pro is the change of the F key function row. Changing it from physical buttons that you really can't do anything besides what they're assigned to a new OLED screen that, in theory, will allow you to customize that F function row, along with processor upgrades, the 13 and 15-inch MacBook Pros. And so I know Matt's been waiting for 10 years to upgrade his Mac. Well, at least it feels like 10 years as he complains about it.
Like 15 years.
But do you think this... Okay, whatever. This MacBook Pro with the new LEDs, the processor, is enough for people to want to go out and buy a new MacBook Pro, who I guess is, 2 years ago is when they upgraded, a big upgrade?
About a year and a half. A year.
So do you think it's the people who bought one a year and a half ago? I mean, you're, 3 years into it, right? 4 years into it?
Yeah, I'm almost, yeah.
Yeah. So you're ready to upgrade. But
Yeah.
year and a half, you think what we're hearing about the MacBook Pro is going to jump people up?
I think if you are within the last year to year and a half, I think you'll skip this new one, and you'll probably do the one after. But I think that if you're beyond 2 years, the performance increase and the feature increase that you'll see on the new one will make it worth it. Because assuming the new ones have Skylake, which they have to have Skylake because it's new.
For those layman people, Skylake is the processor.
Yeah, it's the new iSeries processors because they're still running Broadwells, which is old.
It's like Greg versus me running.
Yeah.
That's not really a question.
But so
Greg's the Skylark, and I'm the
Lake
Skylake, and I'm the Howl or whatever.
Broadwell.
We haven't really put that to the test, so we're not sure how that would really turn out.
He's gone, so maybe I'll have a chance.
Hmm.
But then the new MacBooks will definitely have Skylake, so you'll see a huge you'll see a substantial performance increase and a substantial battery life increase, and I think for a lot of people that's worth it. The whole OLED thing, I don't know.
You're not a fan of the
indifferent.
customizable touchscreen OLED?
I guess I am. I'd be more excited to see Apple Pay. I'd be more excited to see some type of biometric on the laptop to do purchasing.
And I think I would go on a limb here if I was Apple, and I think that it is in the works. And I think I read a lot of articles about Apple Pay being integrated with the MacBook Pro, and a thumbprint reader maybe integrate with the OLED screen to make those purchases. And I think if Apple wanted to be smart, they would integrate that really quickly.
Yeah, and I can see that being integrated from the merchant's end a lot quicker than Apple Pay, or from your phone Apple Pay, just because from their end on this it's more of a software thing. They don't have to buy hardware because you have the hardware in your laptop. But I'm really excited to see an online merchant world where it's all biometric, and you're not just entering in a card number and an address, but you're actually authenticating with your fingerprint. It's interesting to think about.
I don't know why they couldn't. I mean, you can already do it with, or really, I find a regular amount of success on the phone itself just to unlock it. I mean, if the fingerprint thing works great, there's no reason they couldn't move that over.
You know,
What cycle are you on with your MacBook?
I'm the same as Matt.
So do these changes make you want to upgrade?
Well, I'm at that place where I had changed out my original drive to an SSD and added more RAM to mine at some point about half or more of the way in. So I had a little upgrade myself, but obviously not a processor upgrade. But I know that kind of like that phone in the third year, that the computer, and I think Matt has had some of the same issues, you start just knowing that even if it's working fine, you're going to start pressing it, or it's just going to start not functioning with some of the demands of Adobe products or whatever happens to be continuing to roll down the line, and we use in these things, because obviously we use them professionally, at least at times. They're not just e-machines. And so I know that the time is coming to turn this thing into more of a home e-machine or hand it off to a kid or something like that who still needs to just write papers or whatever and again get the bigger, the new processor. I know it's around the bend, and I've gotten great use out of it. So,
Michaela, what cycle are you on?
I got
same one.
mine. What?
And you're on the same one we are, aren't you? Mid 2012.
Yeah.
So is it time for you to take that plunge with Apple, upgrade to the new MacBook, or kind of hang out with what you have?
Well, again,
The
I'm
money.
gonna hang out with it. The money issue. A recent college grad.
Sponsor for the podcast, and we'll buy you one.
Yeah, some of these conversations are a bit theoretical when it comes to money because clearly I can't either.
No, I just need to back up my computer and reformat, is what Matt says. It works really slow. That's all I know.
So if you had the funds,
If I had the funds,
if you had the funds, you'd go ahead and upgrade it to the new MacBook.
probably. Yeah.
You're at that spot where you're probably going to have to do something.
Oh yeah.
You're
I have
either
to do
going to have
something.
to put a different drive in your computer and speed things up and take the load off of it, or you're going to have to buy a new one.
Yeah. And I feel like I should probably fix the drive, then have it one day just completely go, and not have to spend whatever it is, $2,000 on a new MacBook.
All right. So we'll
Yeah.
see. June. When's the WWDC?
June 13th.
June 13th. Oh man, it's only 11 days away. Can you wait? I mean, you take the day off.
That was really fast math. Oh, it's the second. Yeah. June 13th. But I wouldn't be surprised to see MacBooks not come out until the end of the year,
That would suck.
which would suck. But if the new OS X won't come out until the end of the year, so assuming that there's features in this new MacBook that are going to rely on that OS, they can't release a laptop because half the stuff won't even work because it won't have the software it needs.
No, you're right. And we shouldn't see it until the new OS comes out then.
Yeah.
we know
we
the,
wouldn't want to.
we know the new iOS 10 though will comes in June,
Yeah.
right? Probably as soon as they announce it at WWDC, I'm sure it'll be released.
Yeah, it's usually when
Right
they
after
announce
that.
it or like 2 weeks after.
Yeah.
Where does the iMac fall into this as far as new OS and all that? Is that a part? Or is it only the MacBook Pro that's part of this conversation with big upgrade and release?
I don't know. I don't know where their desktops live. Most of the conversations revolve around laptops.
Yeah,
And
sounds
phone-
like it.
And I don't know if Apple is still wanting to satisfy the professional market or whatnot. I mean, I think they do. I just don't think they make a big splash about it because they know the professionals will just jump on whatever they need. So.
Well, I guess I was thinking more of just the home user, not necessarily the professional looking for it. I mean, you get a heck of a lot more screen and for less money buying the iMacs than you do buying the toteable version around.
Yeah, I guess I haven't heard a lot about iMacs.
Yeah, so the iMac is 233 days into its product cycle. Its average is 317. So they might mention some things, but I doubt they're going to have a new one. But that's not to say that they're going to kill the line or anything. I think I predict this WWDC is going to be all about MacBook Pros just because it's been so long. And that is, I think, the biggest question they're getting is when it's a new MacBook Pro because it's been so long, and I think there's a ton of people like me who are waiting for a reason to upgrade, and they want to know when that reason's coming.
Right.
All right, we'll find out June 13th, and as the rumors come out, we'll be sure to let you know. It's my favorite singer, Adele. All right. So now I guess we're all going to go to sleep as Matt tells us what's on his mind.
What's on Matt's mind?
All right, Matt, the floor is yours.
So, yesterday and a few days ago, rumors started popping up online. Has anyone in here used to? Does anyone in here use the program TeamViewer?
Nope.
No.
Oh, okay. Anyway,
Mikhail's like, I don't have friends to use TeamViewer. I don't.
TeamViewer is basically a remote control app for your computer, so that you can install it on your computer. You can be anywhere, log on to your account online, and then remote in and take control of your computer. It's a lot of people use it.
Doesn't sound very safe.
We'll get there.
Okay.
I should preface this with this is all rumor.
Sorry. I was a little slow on the uptake.
Because TeamViewer has been coming after people who are trying to talk that they've been hacked and threatened to sue them and whatnot.
So we're not talking that,
So I'm just reiterating what I've seen on the internet.
which is a rumor.
Pretty soon we're gonna have to pay Adele.
Yeah, we're gonna pay Adele. you're gonna have my blue moon, Adele.
So there's some people online who are saying that sometime over the weekend, hackers came in through TeamViewer, took control of their computer, went to sites like PayPal, Amazon, bought a couple of $1,000s worth of stuff, and then dipped out.
You don't think it's like their 13-year-old neighbor?
No, I doubt that.
Mm.
When the logs are read, a lot of this activity is coming from Chinese IP addresses, which makes it more believable in my head. But that's not really what. I guess what this is about is that if you have TeamViewer, secure it down, lock it down. I'm not going to tell you how. Google it. There's a lot of things you can do to make it more secure. But what I realized as I was reading people's reactions is that there are a ton of people on the internet, and I'm guessing here, who have
in this podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. He's gonna call us stupid in the nicest way possible.
Who really don't understand how passwords work and how passwords are stored.
I totally understand how passwords work.
So you enter a password into a site.
He's talking about me now.
No, that's fine. All right, so you enter your password into your site and you hit login. And
Correct.
What happens?
It logged in.
Okay, so
it bounces to a server.
So any site that's worth anything, which should
Anything.
be pretty much every site, will do what's called hashing of your password. And this whole argument comes back to why you should create secure passwords and create unique passwords.
I create a unique password for every website.
Because you use LastPass, right?
And Matt thinks it's stupid.
I don't think it's stupid. Anyway, what happens I'll make this as simple as I can.
Thank goodness.
But I think it helps if you understand what's happening so that you can understand why you need to create a secure password. Websites aren't dumb, and they know that they're not going to store your passwords in plain text on their server because they know that if anyone were to steal the data, they would have your password. So it goes through a quick process that's called hashing. So you enter your password into a website. It's run through an algorithm, usually MD5 or SHA-1, and it creates a string. It's usually 128 characters. So if you enter the word password, it gets run through this mathematical equation, and it gets hashed out to 128 characters. That hash is then what's stored on the server.
And your password is embedded in that hash?
No, your password is run through an equation, and the answer to that equation is the hash.
Okay.
So then the next time you go to log into your account, you enter your password, it runs it through the hash equation, and then it looks at, are the hashes the same? So at no point does it store your physical password on the server, it just stores the result of the hash.
And the result of the hash is the same every time?
Yes.
Based on what you entered?
Based on what you entered.
I'm following.
The hash
I'm with
will
you
not
so
change.
far. I'm sure I'm going to lose you in about 30 seconds, but go ahead.
So a very common algorithm is called MD5.
Oh, the good old MD5. I'm used to the MD4, but that's fine.
That algorithm is well known. It's not secure, and the equation it uses is known. You can go to a website, you can Google it, you can type in a password, and it'll show you exactly what the output hash is. And again, that hash is exactly what would be on your server.
So if I were to Google password, and then what?
MD5.
MD5.
Yeah.
Hash?
Yeah.
Oh, if you go into a hash generator. Okay, and use this generator to create password.
Yep.
Out the enter and generates. All right, so I have a hash.
Yep.
So if I was brilliant, I could
So that
do
hash is what's. Do you want to share your screen
I would love to.
so that Greg can get into this?
Greg needs a beer to get into this conversation. Here, there's my hash.
Okay, so
I typed
that
in my
hash-
string,
Okay,
which is
okay.
password.
Yeah.
and then it gave me a hash.
So that hash is what's then stored on the server.
Sure.
Okay. So the best way to think of a hash is a purely one-way equation. There's no way to take that hash and figure out that it was password. The best way to think of that is that if you make a mathematical equation, right? 1 + 2 + 3 is 6. So that hash is 6. But there's no way to figure out.
But it's the same hash every time.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So that hash, so say 1 + 2 + 3 is 6. That hash is the answer 6. Your password is 1 + 2 + 3. With that hash, there's no way to figure out what the equation was to create that hash. But here's where the problem
But
is.
you know the answer.
If you use a dictionary word like password, the hash will be the same every single time.
Every time.
So when a database of password hashes is leaked, they can immediately look at the hash,
and say that's password.
reverse that it's password. So a hash is only one way, but there are dictionaries of known hashes for dictionary words. That's why you shouldn't use a dictionary word, because dictionary words have already been hashed into dictionaries, and they can easily look up a hash and figure out what your password was. Whereas if you changed out one of those characters, so say that A for an @ sign, that hash is completely different and will most likely won't be in a dictionary.
Okay.
So,
We got that.
So A, that's why you don't use dictionary words. You make complex passwords, because the methods that's used. Oh, also there's another thing called salting.
My gosh.
This will be real quick. So hashed and salted passwords is a common method. Basically, salting is where the website will add a known phrase, not known, but the same phrase to everything. So if you entered password, the salt for that website might be 1, spelled out O-N-E. So every time you enter password, it'll add a 1 before your password, right? So 1 password. So then when it creates a hash,
it won't be password.
Yeah, it'll be the hash for 1 password. So if you don't know the salt, you can't figure out what that hash was, because that hash won't be the same as password.
But this is really a problem for people who are still using passwords as a password.
Yes. The problem is,
So what is this lecture getting to?
that too many people do that. And they use dictionary words, and they don't quite understand that how vulnerable that is.
So Blue Moon, is that a bad password?
I would say yes, because it's a very common thing. But what this comes down to is that data breaches are going to happen. That's just a reality. MySpace, LinkedIn,
MySpace. Who uses that?
Well, this was no one knows exactly when the breach happened. It was supposedly around 2008, but about 360 million logins from that time were leaked onto the internet. So I would say that data breaches are just a reality, and really the only way to protect yourself is to use complex passwords. You can't just think that a data breach isn't going to happen, because what happens is that if you use a complex password and a data breach happens and the hashes are released, you are in essence still secure, because even though they have the hash of your password,
they don't know what the heck your password is.
Yeah, they don't know what your password is. So
why do people say to change it?
Just as
if the data breach happened and it's a really random password, do I really have to change it?
You don't really have to change it, but it is always a good idea to change it.
So they can never get my password, essentially. They're only getting the hash of the password.
Theoretically, if they put all of their effort and computing power into just figuring out yours, at some point, yes, they could reverse engineer and figure out what your password was.
But it takes a lot of time.
Yeah, and no one's really going to do that.
Cool.
So make complex passwords to protect yourself from data breaches. The other thing you should do is, if you go to Have I Been Owned, or PWNED, the slang for owned, and you type in the email address you use for accounts or usernames. Basically what they've done is they've created a site that has compiled all of these data breaches, and it'll search those databases for your email address or your username, and it'll tell you whether or not your info has been released on the internet. So it's a good resource to look at, just to get an idea of how much of your stuff is floating around the internet. Yeah.
There we go.
It was a lot faster than I was expecting.
Password 101 education with Matt Kawamura.
People get ready. There's a train a-coming. What
what's on Matt's mind.
So, fellas, baby got back.
That's like a mixture of Matt's Mind music with Baby Got Back.
Baby got back.
You're really DJing now.
Oh, what are they? Yeah. Okay. All right.
Mixmaster K.
Mixmaster K. I like that. That's my new name. We're gonna go with that for the rest of the show. So this week we go to the world of Indiegogo. Hey, Greg, you like beer?
I do. Yeah.
Matt likes beer, right?
Yeah.
Connolly likes beer. Michaela thinks beer tastes like soap.
True that.
But on Indiegogo, there's a crowdfunding project for something that makes beer and helps dispense it really quickly,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Greg's going to talk about, after the video, what it takes to make beer, how long it takes, and then what this product can do. So let's take a listen at this product.
Brew Day. The day your creativity comes to life. When you combine simple ingredients using age-old methods with a personal touch. This is brewing. Your beer. Your way.
Yeah.
Fermentation. When the whirlwind of creativity is replaced with a bucket of wort, a schedule of deadlines, and the constant fear of contamination, every step presents another risk.
What if there was a better
recipe? Fermenter and dispenser. You'll ferment, carbonate, and dispense all in a single tank. No need to siphon from carboy to carboy. You'll be pitch to pour in as little as 7 days. The process is simple. Transfer your wort into the vessel. Wort. Seal the unit. Set your desired fermentation pressure. Set the desired fermentation temperature.
Absolutely.
And you're ready. Vessi Fermenter and Dispenser uses a refrigeration system. This isn't a simple glycol sleeve. You can even dose additives during the process without exposing your beer to the elements.
Wow.
Once fermentation is complete, remove the sediment with our patent-pending sediment removal system and crash the unit to the desired serving temperature. Or bottle your beer. Or keg. You can do both with the bottling and kegging ports on the top of the unit.
Or just drink it. All right, so
We don't care about
I
home
think
brew.
we
Yeah,
don't
the
care
big
about the
deal
home
right
brewers.
there.
So it's called the Vessi, the beer fermentator and dispenser. It's a single tank that ferments and dispenses. Greg, why don't you talk to the people about the process of making beer, since I understand you have made beer in the past.
I have. So what part? Just from the beginning?
Yeah, so like kind of talk about what they, I mean, the verbiage they were using. No idea what they were talking about.
Okay, to achieve the wort, which they pour into the fermenter.
I only know wort on my finger.
Right. It's WORT, and it's the sweet liquid that is made from barley malt and water and whatever specialty grains or other flavorings that you're putting together and you boil it for a good long time. It takes a good part of an afternoon or something like that to get your boil all done. There are different recipes and there are different lengths of boils, and you add different parts and pieces or flavors or whatnot. But basically, the basic deal is that you're doing a malted barley, and then whatever else that makes that particular flavor of beer, and that can be hops down the road. It can be sometimes hops in the boil. There are lots of different ways you can do it, but the simple thing is that you come out with a wort, which is a hot, sweet liquid. So it has the whole deal is sugar conversion with alcohol, and so what you're going to do in the fermenter is you're going to take whatever level of sugar content that you have, and yeast, the live yeast, is the thing that converts that sugar into alcohol, whatever percent of it you want, and so that leaves you with those different percentages of. And if you have a high sugar content, obviously you're going to have a high alcohol content, but you're balancing flavor and alcohol content with the ingredients you use. So you do that boil, you achieve that wort. which really is the sweet version of your beer. You then that's where the paths diverge, and that's where you pour that into this thing that does the rest of the whole process for you. The process that you would do, and you saw some examples of there, are you put it in a carboy, the glass container that has the small top on it.
Mm-hmm.
That you saw there, and that's just because you don't want bacteria and stuff from the regular just air and the environment to get in there, because it'll spoil it. So during that fermentation process, it's a closed process, and there are just a few different pieces of equipment that allow you to have that be a closed process, like any chemistry experiment or something like that. And it generally takes, for an ale, it'll take about a month in fermentation to be all the way ready. You sometimes move it from an initial fermentation, which is pretty active, and you can see the bubbles really happening. Then it slows way down for the last portion of that, and you oftentimes, as they were alluding to and showing you, you move it from one carboy to another, and it kind of cleans things up and gets sediment out of it. Then you let it do that secondary one. And for an ale, it takes about 4 weeks. If you're doing a different type of beer, it might take like about 6 months or something like that in the fermentation process. And in a slower, colder fermentation, an ale fermentation will be somewhere around 70 degrees. You want to hold it at. The yeast will kind of keep it around there.
So the fastest you could get to a cup, I guess. If
Go
you're
ahead.
not in this machine, is a month.
Yeah, it's not even. It's probably more like 6 or 7 weeks, because if you've got if you have kegging ability, you have fresh beer that is all the way yeasted out and it's fermented out, and so it is ready to drink, so to speak, but it's super fresh. And then you usually add a couple of things and a little teeny bit of yeast at times if you're bottling, and give it just sort of a last bit of go, and that gives it that the pop in the bottle, or in the keg or whatever. But the keg, you add CO2 to give it that, so things can go a little faster. But I'd say realistically, you're probably looking at 5 or 6 weeks.
And so this Vesti beer fermentator says it can do it in a week.
Yeah.
The constant changing of temperatures, like you were saying, and whatnot. So the question I asked to either of you is, why the heck would you want to brew your own beer?
Well, it's fun and it's interesting, and there are recipes. It's just like cooking. If you're into cooking, it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, but cooking, it's instant. I cook, it's done, I get to eat it.
Well, I suppose the first time around, sure. If you get into a cycle of wanting to make your own beer and you're having success with it, then you're in a cycle. Then you have some in the fridge, and then you make some before you run out, sort of thing. You can make it a lot cheaper than you can buy it. It's interesting to find out just how creative you can be and make really, really good beer. And you can also take the process to a much more complicated end. And the complicated part of it is not the fermenter part that you're buying with this product. The complicated part is all of the stuff that happens to create that wort.
The wort, which this doesn't do.
Correct. So there's still potentially, it can be very simple or it can be far more complicated, but there's potentially a far more complicated and somewhat more time-consuming thing that you have to pay attention to prior to pouring it into this machine.
But you'll be able to taste quicker with this machine of how terrible it is, as opposed to waiting.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. I understand your trepidation, but the truth of the matter is, if you keep it simple when you start and don't try to do something that's really relying on certain temperatures for sparging and grains, natural grains and all this kind of stuff that makes it more difficult to get right the first time. If you just use syrups and barley malts that are already made for you, you can make beer successfully on your first try, no problem.
Okay.
Well, let's make some beer.
Well, Indiegogo, the project, the Vesti beer fermentator and dispenser, is going for a $100,000 goal. It has a month left, and at 77%, so it's got about $77,500 is what it's raised so far. So for the three of you, since I know Michaela loves beer, so I probably know her answer, but for the three of you, to get into the game of the Vesti for a backer, apparently you'll get it in December, which is a perfect time to brew beer when it's cold, right, Greg?
Indeed.
To get in at the game of the Indiegogo price, the early bird special, $1,399. So for that price, Matt, are you in or not?
He's struggling with it.
He is. Yeah. Usually I don't see this from Matt.
I know.
He's sweating too.
Yeah.
You're in?
Yeah, I'd buy it.
All right, he's in for $1,400. Greg, are you in with the Vessi fermentator or out?
I think it takes me too long to recoup what you save making your own beer to get to that number. That's really, really expensive considering, and I do understand that I own a fair amount of the stuff already, but and that might taint my thoughts on this. But no, it's going to take me too long to recoup.
Michaela?
Yeah, I'm not buying that.
No, you don't have the money. Okay. At least that was easy. All right, so for me...
Can I just say, it probably would still taste like soap if I made my own.
But the one thing you could think of, perhaps, is that other people really adore this soap-tasting-like thing that we keep buying out of stores and making ourselves in our backyards. So you might be able to actually sell it to people if you wanted to. That's a thought.
Just an idea.
But I'm almost thinking with this, you almost have
Can
to...
I give my decision?
Hold on.
Gosh.
This might influence it. That
It's
you
not.
almost have to make it. Well, okay, never mind. No.
So here's the deal, right? This thing seems really cool. $1,400 is pretty pricey for me. But I
It does
feel
seem cool.
if you are a home brewer, right, the idea of making your own beer is the whole process of doing it. So it's the taking it out of, what do you call the glass thing?
Carboy.
Carboy, right? Transferring that back and forth and just enjoying the process of making it and seeing it evolve. And it's not so much the end product of you. I mean, eventually it is the end product of you drinking, right? But you're enjoying the process of making the wort and the process of knowing what's happening with your beer and just it. You know, the anticipation of those 6 weeks, and for that reason, I'm out.
I will say, however, that I think the most enjoyable part of making the beer is up to the point of the wort. So I actually like the idea of being able to eliminate the part that causes the beer to taste bad.
Okay.
The biggest problem is not when you're boiling it. It's when you're dealing with it, keeping it at 70 degrees and keeping bacteria out of it. And I know that's the reason that a lot of people don't bottle and they go right to a keg, situation where they do CO2 because you take a lot of that out of it. So I mean, it's too expensive for me to get into for the amount of beer that I would brew. I'd have to be brewing all the time for that to be worth it.
Right.
And who knows, maybe you would if you invested in something like that. But I would say the fun part is before that. And I would love to eliminate the last part.
And this
in contradiction to what you're saying.
This is what that thing does.
Yeah, it eliminates all that last part of it. The last month, really.
See,
the boiling all happens in one day.
To me, I equate it to smoking a piece of meat. Like, no one wants to sit out there for 13 hours basting this every hour, making sure your fire is going. But it tastes so much better in the end because you've done all that work. That's all.
Well, the one guy on PBS really likes to do that.
Guy on PBS loves it, yeah.
Franklin, he's awesome.
But I'd argue that this is more fail-safe, right? If I'm understanding this product correctly, if you do it correctly, it eliminates some of the possibility of you spoiling the beer.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, but at $1,400.
Yeah, but I mean,
take the risk.
going to like your meat argument,
I'll take the risk.
You doing it manually doesn't really make it any better, right? It just increases
Yes,
the
it
chance
does.
of it going wrong.
No, it makes it taste better.
Oh, okay.
You can feel the love, the spirit in the food, in the beer. That's what I'm going with. And you can't take that away from me.
No, I don't think we can.
Why don't you get rid of the smoker? Just dig a hole, build a campfire.
If it was legal in the city of Pullman, I think I would, but I can't. So,
Well, fine.
Greg, you want to wrap up the Baby Got Back?
All right, with a vote of Well, did we get a vote from Michaela? No,
No,
we
she
did,
said-
didn't we?
Yeah. So.
All right.
Three
So it
votes.
was 3 nays to 1 yay. It did not get backed.
Sad times, but what are you going to do? All right.
Yeah.
Apparently, I'm taking a side part to the show now. I'm handing off the iPad. I'm going to roll the theme song. I'm going to hand it over to Matt.
All right.
I have no
I have
idea.
a quick insert to make here.
You have to go get your red cup.
It's either I go get the cup and you guys can work the game, in amongst yourselves for a moment, or there's no cup and I play the game. What's it going to be for you?
You got to get the red cup. So we'll play the game. We'll explain.
You can get the game going. Yeah, sure. You got enough people to play. That's all good. So I'll be back.
We'll wait. Yeah. All right. Your theme song's about to run out, so let's educate us on this game.
So I just realized that I don't really know how I'm going to make this work. But basically,
Such an amateur. This is what happens when you hand the show over.
so this game I made up is based off of kind of based off the game Geek Out, which is a board game. Have you guys ever
Never
played
heard
that?
of it.
So there's categories. How many are there? There's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 categories of things.
I'm going to choose lifestyle for 200, Alex.
In those categories, I like that I can just ignore you. In those categories of
Therapist.
things,
I'll take therapist.
you will bid for how many of them you think you can say and how many of them you think you can list. If you get them right, the number you bid, then you get those points. If you screw it up and you mess 2 up, first one's a gimme, but the second time you mess up, you lose 5 points, which
Okay.
are purely numbers I just made up. So mathematically, I think that will work.
Mathematically, Michaela will win. So are you going to give us an example? Can we have an example? Do you have enough for an example?
I'll just make up an example.
Okay, make up an example, because I'm confused. Michaela,
So-
do you understand what's going on here?
So say
Was looking at Twitter.
I'm going to win. Great.
all right.
This is
So
gonna be great.
here's an example. I will say colors in the rainbow.
Colors in the rainbow.
Connolly will say-
you're going to go. I can name 6.
Okay. So that's how it would work. And then Michaela, there's only
Because there's
6,
only
right?
no, there's 7.
Oh, and then Michaela
Roy
would say,
G. Biv.
all right. Well, so you would say I can do 2. Michaela would say I can do 3. You think about it. I can probably do 4. I'll do 4.
Okay, I can do 7.
And then
Red, orange, yellow, green, violet, blue, indigo.
if you get them, you get those points.
Oh, blue, indigo, violet. Sorry.
See, so in that point you would have not.
No, I
gotten-
would have got it. I just got it in a different order.
Oh.
Roy G. Biv. Red, orange, yellow,
Does that make sense?
green, blue,
Sure.
indigo, violet. Yes, makes sense. I got it.
All right.
All right. So like if you say car models,
Yeah.
right? We're gonna say I can name 2. Michaela will go, I can name 4.
I think Greg
And
would
if
say,
she
what?
doesn't, Greg goes, what's going on? And so if she doesn't get it, then she gets minus 5 points.
Yeah.
And if she gets it, then she gets whatever point she said she could do.
Exactly.
Okay. Can't wait.
Can't wait for this game.
I don't know a lot of things.
I just like the song. Sorry. Greg's back.
Greg's back.
Okay, Greg, I'm going to explain the game to you real quick because we haven't. It took Matt this long to get us to understand what the heck the game is. So I'm
Oh
gonna,
my gosh! I thought I heard the song and it was over. I was
No,
okay.
no. We haven't even started the game. So think of it like name that tune. Okay.
Okay.
You're going to give us a category. We're going to say I can name 4. So the example we gave was colors of the rainbow. And then everyone's going to throw out a number. I can name 4. Michaela says I can name 6, and you say I can name all 7.
Yeah.
If you name all 7, you get 7 points. If you miss 1, then you lose 5 points. So the
Wow.
person who can wager the most is the person that can
Okay.
take a stab at it.
All right.
All right.
Man, that was a lot faster than you explained the game.
Because you already had the rainbow, you didn't have to make that up.
That wasn't the hard part.
All right.
Anyway, so you're up there, Greg.
So we'll start with a fun category
I thought Colors of the Rainbow was
that is
just fun.
appropriate for today's topic. This is the 13 most recent one. So I'm only looking. You can only bid up to 13.
Okay. Can I get a paper? Can we get paper to write? No. Okay. Go
If
ahead.
You can. Yeah, you're on a computer.
Go ahead. I
It
could
has-
use a word
Probably has
processor.
Word.
Whatever.
The product names for the last 13 versions of OS X.
Oh God. I can name 2.
Connolly says
I got 2. Oh no, can I raise mine? I got 3.
okay, but you can't keep upbidding yourself.
What if
It's
someone
at
says?
3.
What if someone says they can name 7? Can I go? I can name
Yeah.
8. Okay.
But you can't just you can't just think, oh, I know one more. I'm gonna keep.
All right. Okay. I'll stay with my 2. I can.
All right,
name
you're
2.
at 2. No one can name more than 2 versions of OS X.
Okay, you have to give them a chance. My gosh.
They're animals.
Can you stop?
No.
I can name 2.
Come on, Greg.
Yeah, that's right where I'm at. That's not something I have in my head.
One, maybe.
What'd you say? How many?
Said I can name one, maybe.
So I'm gonna go. Right? I get it.
Greg, let me put it this way, Greg. Since you've bought your laptop, you've gone through 4.
Well, I know, but you have to
You don't-
care about thinking about what they were.
Right.
All right,
I
Conley.
can name
What
2.
what are your 2?
Why do you sound so upset? There's wait, the last 13, right?
Yeah.
Can I
10.
name the current one? Oh, of 10?
of OS 10? We're on 10.
Oh.
We're on 10.
Oh.
Right.
I couldn't name it.
Wait.
I was gonna go with Maverick and Capitan. Yes.
Wait, I think someone's knocking at my door.
You got 2.
What? Okay, maybe it's a new roommate. What is a leopard? Is that one?
Yeah. So I'll go
Snow
back.
leopard.
Well,
Okay, wait.
Capitan-
Well, no. Let's try and guess them now that I got the points. So go ahead, Greg. What do you name?
What there was snow leopard, right? And then I had Maverick, El Capitan, but you had those. So.
What Yosemite is that one?
Yep.
Yosemite.
Oh yeah.
You started going with parks, right?
Yep.
Or cities. You started going with cities. Was it pizza, Michaela? Welcome back.
No, it's parks.
Okay, I don't know the rest.
Mountain lion, leopard, tiger, panther, jaguar, puma, cheetah, Kodiak.
All right. Well, I got 2.
I knew lion.
You didn't know, you couldn't come up with lion and the one you're currently on.
All right.
I don't know what I'm on, but I knew lion.
All right.
Nice.
It's hard to remember the names that you're on. You just kind of upgrade.
Mhm.
I would argue that I have no problem listing off. All right.
All of them.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
So then I thought this next one would be really easy.
This is the part where you realize just how smart you are.
And now the rest of us aren't so smart. You listen to Bandwidth Boys podcast.
All right.
All right. What do you got?
Next one.
We're going to go with versions of Android.
Oh,
And I'm looking for, well, there's only 11 since it started. There's only 11. So
I can name 5.
5. Wow.
0.
Connolly's at 5. Anyone say 6?
I've never heard of a version of Android, so I don't know.
I'll take this one then.
I'm in Greg's boat.
All right. So we have Jelly Bean, Ice Cream Sandwich, Kit Kat, Marshmallow. Wait. I'm going through
Skittles?
my. What was H?
Do you have the Jeopardy song on here?
No.
Oh.
G. Gummy Bear? Is Gummy Bear one? No, that wouldn't be one.
Is that your guess?
No, that's not my guess. Oh, I guess I only know 4. I only know 4.
All right. So you are back to negative 3 points. Were you going for honeycomb?
Honeycomb. Yes, I was going for honeycomb. I wasn't gonna say N, but they haven't come up with a name, so that you wouldn't give it to me.
You're at negative.
Can I say N?
No, you're at negative 3.
Version N, because they don't have one.
All right.
Yet.
So this next one is very easy. It really is. I'm not gonna lie. It's probably especially for Greg because he was probably there. 13 original colonies.
Oh my god.
God.
Let's start at 1.
Let's just skip. Let's go to the next one. Next category.
No one can even say 1.
Isn't it
Virginia?
Virginia?
Virginia. I was thinking Virginia. That was the only one I got.
Virginia, what's another one?
Another one and you win it.
Maryland.
Maryland, Pennsylvania, New Jersey,
You actually know these.
What else is one?
Is New
All right, so
York
we're-
part of that or not yet?
All right. We're going to give Michaela 4 points.
Yes!
And then
What are they?
New Hampshire, New York, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland,
Wow.
Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia.
People are going to listen to this podcast and go, "These are a bunch of dumbasses."
So the score is
We would not beat a 5th grader.
at -3.
We could not.
I knew that going in. So
Michaela at 4, and Greg's at 0. But Greg, this one's for you.
I think your arbitrary points are ridiculous, but let's
you
get
said the last one was for me.
You just
You thought I was
are
alive
protecting
during the
people.
Revolutionary War.
All right. There has been since this started. I want the actors that have played James
Oh my
Bond.
gosh.
The James Bond actors.
I got 0. I'm not a movie guy. I got 0.
Can anyone name one?
Bond. James Bond.
Isn't it Daniel something? Is the
I can
last
see
one?
them.
All right, we'll skip this category.
Wait,
Oh.
wasn't it Daniel something?
Pierce Brosnan.
Say the number.
Do I get a half?
Say the number.
1.
Okay. We're at 1. Can anyone say 2?
No.
But I don't remember his last name.
All right. What's your 1?
I can say 2.
Oh,
Okay.
Greg's at 2.
Go,
Greg's-
Greg.
2. Anyone at 3?
No. Give
All
it to
right.
Greg.
Greg, what are your 2?
Sean Connery and Roger Moore.
Hmm.
Nice, Greg.
Congratulations, Greg.
It helps to be alive during the Revolutionary War sometimes.
You know a lot of stuff if you're alive that long. I can tell you that much.
Next one is
What was Pierce Brosnan? Is that one? No.
Connery,
Yes, it is.
David Niven,
Is that the new guy?
Niven.
1967.
Oh, that's not new.
George Lazenby, Roger Moore, Timothy Dalton, Pierce Brosnan, and Daniel Craig.
Craig.
Told
Daniel
you,
Craig.
I
Get
knew
your
it
picture.
Daniel. I just couldn't remember his last name.
That's not helpful.
All right. So I'm not going to. Okay, this one is easy.
That's what you
Of
said to
course
all
it
the categories? We're still failing.
Top 7 major German car manufacturers.
Oh,
1.
Okay.
1.
2.
Uh,
2.
major German car manufacturers. I mean, 3?
Oh, we're at 3.
Oh,
Anyone say
man.
4?
No, give it to Greg. Give it to Greg.
All right, Greg. What are your
We're
3?
just gonna go home now.
Aren't you alone?
Gosh, Audi, Porsche, BMW, Mercedes.
Yes.
That was 4, Greg.
Volkswagen.
I know, but
What a
sometimes
show.
your brain doesn't, trust that you know 4 until it's too late.
Is Volkswagen one?
Yes.
It is, yes.
What did we miss? Ford Germany, Opel.
Ford Germany? Oh, Ford Germany.
All right.
Ford.
That was like the bonus round, if you knew that.
yeah, Ford Germany.
All right, 2 more categories.
25 extra points. Ford.
Next one is possibly out of 8.
8.
I'm looking
8.
for original Monopoly pieces.
I got 3.
I was going to say 3.
Greg's at 3. Do we have 4?
I got 4. But
Greg, you can't.
all right, no, that's fine. I just said I have 4. So
Anyone say 4?
I didn't. I guess I said 3.
All right, 3.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I got 4.
You got 4. Okay.
Anyone have 5?
I got 4.
Anyone have 5? 3, 2. Okay, Connolly, what are your 5?
Car,
Yeah.
cannon, boot, hat.
Those weren't the ones I had, but those would work.
Is that a yes? What are you doing? Damn it!
The cannon wasn't.
Cannon's not the
It
original?
wasn't original.
Oh.
That was kind of hard.
Shit.
I was
is
going
it-
shoe, hat, wheelbarrow. Don't I get to dive in?
Shoe hat wheel. Yeah.
Give
And
him
car.
Yeah.
That was my 4th one that I remembered.
was the ship one?
Scottish
Mhm.
Carrier,
No.
battleship,
I was going to go with the Terrier.
automobile,
Do it.
top hat, thimble, shoe, wheelbarrow,
Thimble.
And the thimble.
How
the
did I
Terrier
not
and the
remember
thimble were the ones
thimble?
I had.
When was I guess you don't have the date. Of when
Alrighty. This last one is how
the
you
winner take all.
yeah, is how literally you're going to win this game.
Well, I meant like
There's
It's like Ford, Germany is the answer.
Here's a possible 15.
15. Oh boy.
Oh, my God.
Just like the 13 colonies.
MLB
Right. We did great on that one.
League teams.
Oh, that's not fair.
What
What
was
is
it?
MLB American League teams.
0. I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know.
Everyone knows one.
Sure.
But
yeah.
I don't know the difference between NL and AL. Like I know the teams, I don't know what division they're in. I
Are
just
we talking about baseball?
yes. we're
Yeah,
talking
I could probably think of 4 or 5 of them is all in my head, but
Greg, let's just see how many you can get.
okay. Seattle, Anaheim, Texas, Cleveland, Baltimore. What else we got? That's in the American League, for crying out loud. Kansas City.
Michaela's lost after the Mariners.
Yeah, well, I think
it's
most
true.
we're struggling a little bit. I don't even know who's in our own dang division, for crying out loud. I already said Anaheim, I think. Oakland.
Better. But you went baseball.
I thought you watched it.
Just the
I'm
Mariners.
kind of running out. I mean, I know there'll be a lot of that's about what I got in my head. But.
So go down the list: Orioles, Red Sox, Yankees, Rays, Blue Jays, White Sox, Indians, Tigers, Royals, Twins, Astros, Angels, A's, Mariners, and Rangers.
All right. I don't know how many I got. Probably 6 or 7 of them. But
Yeah, so we'll say you got 7.
oh, just for the sake of the.
Because he likes to rig the points.
So Greg,
I didn't get any wrong. I don't think.
So let's see. We'll do the math on this. Connolly, you ended with negative 10.
Yes.
Michaela ended with
The
4.
cannon really got you there.
And Greg ended with like 14.
Negative or positive?
Positive. I'm not gonna lie.
Excellent.
When I made this game, I really thought it would be a lot easier.
Okay.
It was pretty. It was a good game, though. I applaud you. I'm not sure that it was very interesting to listen to. If you know.
Because we're
I thought we were gonna get in a bidding war.
nope. We just
Right.
had. All right. Favorite
well.
segment of the show.
Red Solo Cup, I fill you up. Let's have a party. Let's have a party. I love you, Red Solo Cup.
With his official Bandwidth Boys podcast, Red Cup, we hand the show off to Greg Mills. What's in Greg's cup tonight?
Hopefully, it's above the shin.
Hopefully, it's not plastic.
Oh, the bottle that it came from. Simplicity,
You're to
gentlemen,
write-
ladies. Simplicity. That's what I have in my cup.
It's called Simplicity.
Yeah, well, I mean, it embodies simplicity. It's a metaphor for simplicity.
Gotcha.
It is cranberry and vodka. Simplicity.
Very simple drink. Are you a 1-in-1, like 1-to-1, 2-to-1? I mean, what? Or you just pour?
Really, for me, it's just to taste, but I tend to like a double. I mean, so it's more alcohol-y than some people like it. A little less alcohol-y than I do.
What kind of vodka are you drinking?
Pure plastic bottom shelf type. I hope.
No, what is it? It's nothing like Potter's. I didn't even look to see what we had in there.
So it doesn't
Gosh,
matter.
I
It doesn't
don't
matter.
remember. No, it wasn't bad though. But I mean, if there's one liquor that you're going to buy and not spend a whole bunch of money on, it's vodka because it's a tasteless thing, unless you're getting into the flavored stuff.
Yeah.
But it's sort of a middle one. I wish I could remember what it was, but I don't.
Well, I mean, once you add cranberry or orange juice, you can't taste anything but the cranberry and orange juice. So,
That's a
don't-
lie.
It's that.
okay,
I'm just gonna say that.
you're mixing drinks improperly.
Yeah, it's more of a mouthfeel, as they say.
It smells like hairspray.
Just like beer tastes like soap.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right,
I
the
think
simple.
alcohol is the wrong recreational drug for you,
Yes,
Michaela.
I agree.
And it's fine. It's not for
That's why I
everyone.
go with the hard stuff: meth, cocaine.
Mike's
It's a
lemonade.
family show.
And I'm being sarcastic. not.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pure simplicity in Greg's red solo cup tonight.
That's
Correct.
right.
Vodka ice, no ice. Neat.
Nice.
Oh, there's that.
You need to get a decal for that cup, Greg.
That's coming in the
When the
next.
sponsor comes in, that's where the sponsor logo goes. It's wide open right now, people. There
I
you
feel
go.
like
Nothing on there.
A vodka cranberry is the complete opposite of Jim Beam. Maybe that's just me. But if you're going to come up with a more different drink,
You know what I love about this segment is Greg embraces the diversity of this segment and never duplicates from week to week. He's all about changing it up. He embraces the alcohol. He embraces trying new drinks. He just embodies this segment of what's in Greg's cup.
Red Solo, I fill you up. Let's have a party. Let's have a party. I love you, Red Solo Cup.
So like Greg said, the Red Solo Cup is completely free of real estate. If you would like to sponsor that What's in Greg's Cup segment, you can email us at thebandwidthboyspodcast@gmail.com, and we'll plaster it all over Greg's cup. Probably the best.
You bet. Yeah.
All right, let's wind into the end of the show. Our rants and our raves of the week. Who wants to tackle theirs first?
Matt, what do you have?
Let me guess.
I have
Passwords.
a quick one. No, it's actually about my Philips Hue bulbs.
Oh, okay.
And this might be
Can't go a
because
show without talking about your Hues, can we?
this might be because I have Gen 1 bulbs, but they can't make gold. And between two bulbs, they make different shades. I send it the same color, and they're different shades, and it really is starting to bother me.
One was blue, one was purple.
Yeah, it wasn't even close. So, yeah, there's that.
So is it the bulb itself, or the fixture, or the app, or what's the deal?
I think it's the bulb. Like, I think it's just a maybe it's a defect in one of them, but it just physically cannot output the same color. I can scrub. Well, it can't. That's wrong. It can do it, but I have to send it a different color to get it to match the shade.
It's the reader that's interpreting the information coming in that's wrong. Then it sounds like.
Yeah. So it's very weird and very annoying. So there's that.
Yeah.
All right.
On my otherwise perfect light bulbs.
Minus the fact that they can't output the same color with the same signal.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm up to 16 now. So.
Michaela, what do you have anything for the rants and raves portion of the show?
What is this rants and raves portion?
Watching our show regularly.
I'm not at the end of the only one I've listened to.
Is the time of the show where we get something off our chest? Either we're really happy about something of the week, or just really pissed off about something of the week.
Tech related?
No,
Sure. I downloaded this Musician app to teach me how to play guitar, and it works really well. So I've been enjoying that.
Can you play something?
On my guitar?
Does it actually work?
What?
Does it actually work? Can you play something?
Can I play something on the guitar? Is that what you're asking?
That's what the app does, right?
It doesn't really help us if it's in your head.
Yeah. I mean, nothing that I've learned on this. No, it's making noise.
Oh, so
I
what?
can play you Smoke on the Water. But that's just 'cause I knew that.
I'm just impressed that you even know that there was ever a song called Smoke on the Water. Outstanding.
So there you go.
How much did that app cost you?
The app was free. That's the best thing.
And okay.
So
It will. I mean, you can pay for lessons that are unlimited, but basically you unlock levels, and then the more levels you unlock, the harder the songs get. And
so is it like listening to you play to tell you if you're playing it right?
yeah. So listens, and it tells you if you're no, that was the wrong. It can tell if you hit the wrong note or the wrong string, and it gets angry at you and turns it red. But if you play really well, it turns it green.
I love how they've created a guitar teacher app for you that acts just like a video game.
Well, yeah,
You get to-
and you can
You get
learn
to
if you
break
don't.
through to new levels.
Yeah, and if you want to learn a different instrument, you can learn piano, a bass, and a ukulele on this app.
It's called a ukulele.
Ukulele.
Okay.
So
Whatever.
trying to Hawaiian-fy the show. Hawaii-fy the show.
Yeah. there you
But yeah, it has like a bunch of reviews on the Apple Store, so I downloaded it.
That's me Hawaii-fying the show.
Yeah, that was being Hawaii-ized.
That was
Hawaii.
nice.
Greg?
I didn't have anything coming in, but I have a grave disappointment during the show that I think has to just be added to the rants in my case.
Was it my game?
Matt, no, I thought your game was great.
Was
I'm
it that
just
he said
gravely
you were
di-
alive during the
I'm
13
really
colonies?
disappointed that Connolly went to a place where he equated Apple's whole branding and their approach to customer service with this supposed absolutely absurd political standpoint of Donald Trump. You managed to put an equal sign between Apple and Donald Trump at one point in one of your rantings.
Quite an equal sign. It wasn't even a sign.
I mean, you said the unbelievable, the build the wall and then drop the mic thing while we're talking. I mean, I just couldn't let it go. It just was that was ugly to the point of just really ugly. So I was very disappointed with that.
All right. I won't bring up the wall again. The wall.
That's up to you. I just have the right to be disappointed if you want to say stuff like that, I guess.
Can I be disappointed you haven't named your cow yet?
Oh, on my hat? Yeah.
Oh, you do have a cow in your hat.
I do.
Oh, look at that. I don't have
What
a
you
rant.
got?
I just say I would just like to say that if you ever have to thatch your lawn, don't do it.
Mm.
Or buy some mechanical thing to help you do it, because let me tell you, it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
So if you're gonna thatch, don't do it.
I don't know what you're talking about because every Snapchat you sent me, your wife was working.
She didn't
and
want to
you
take
were
a picture
sitting there.
of me. I wasn't sitting there. I was taking a break. We had to rotate every row because it's a lot of work, and she didn't want to take a picture of me. She was too busy relaxing.
I'm impressed that you guys just didn't go to your local, A to Z rental shop and just grab one for 2 hours, hand them a few bucks, and go home and fire it up and be done.
Well, I think next year I'm going to.
Mm-hmm.
After doing it by hand. That was a terrible experience.
Yeah.
It was
Good for your arms and your back, though. I mean, it's really a good workout.
That it is. It's a workout indeed. I can tell you that much. Let's put a bow on the show there, Greg.
All right, we're going to close the book on it. That is another episode of the Bandwidth Boys podcast. Thanks for joining us. And if you missed us live, don't worry. You can download probably an edited version of this podcast by using iTunes, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast app.
Bandwidth Boys Podcast. Facebook, Bandwidth Boys Podcast. Twitter, @GMK Podcast. Web, bandwidthboys.com. Bandwidth Boys Podcast.
Love to hear the sweet sounds of the great Pete Jensen doing that work. I'm Greg.
I'm Matt.
I'm Connolly.
I forgot.
And that's Michaela.
And thanks to
I didn't know if
Michaela.
I was supposed to say my name or not.
Shh. Finish, Greg.
All right, we'll talk to you next time. Same place, same time, same old shenanigans right here on the Bandwidth Boys podcast. Keep on teching on.
You should be rolling me. You should be rolling me. You're a real life fantasy. You're a